what's the thought process a company should go through when they're trying to understand what kind of coverage should I get? Is $1 million enough? Is $1 million the minimum that you recommend? Where how do you work through that with them?
That is a great question, Brian. And I'm going to speak from the industry in general. So the industry in general is looking at this, they're looking at the data, and they're looking at the average cost of claims. And the recommended limit for any business, you could be a two-person bakery, right? And you ask me, I'm going to recommend a full $1 million limit policy. The reason is there's just too many scenarios on how this can unfold where you get into six figures. And once you get there, there's just too many examples again to showcase, well, could I get a $500,000? Maybe, but there's too many instances. This could be an $800,000 event. So on average, we're seeing, 1 million is the base. That's the table stakes. Now, the question then becomes, well, when do I need to talk to my agent or talk to someone about a higher limit? We start looking at then your business around revenue that you have, the size that you are, right? We want to look at your operations so we can run a quick exercise at the average. Wes, what's the average downtime for
About
ransomware right now?
16 days for ransomware.
16 days. Okay. And you want to run through an exercise. Okay. Lost revenue associated with that downtime. What does that look like? Okay. Now that's one element, but it's a big element. If all of a sudden you go through that, you're like, wow, I'm full of million. I'm past $1 million already. Guess what? We got to be looking at the 2 million. So Brian, to answer your question, millions, the table stakes, and then it's really important you actually go through an exercise to talk to somebody that understands the different parts and pieces of this to determine is a higher limit necessary.
Thanks.
No problem.
And maybe Reed, one final thing on that
questions.
too is sometimes you're in an industry and you're forced to have more. You might have a critical supplier that you're a client of, and they're forcing you to have a certain amount. We see this with, I think, car dealerships a lot. Is that right, Reed? Where they're starting to be forced into certain minimums.
The Safeguard Act came out, and it's you're going to see. So two things are happening, and they're already happened, but it's happening more. Is you're seeing the state. So New York and California are pretty. They're heavy hitters with this. Like right now in New York, we see if you're in professional services, right, and your revenue's over $1 million, guess what? You are required by state to carry $1 million cyber liability policy. California has done the same. And then we're also starting to see the industries themselves are driving a lot of requirements to carry cyber. And next level is you're going to see that business to business, B2B, you're going to start to see in service level agreements, in MSAs, you're going to start to see that folks are requiring that if we're going to do business with each other, right, I really need to see that you have enough protection here, because guess what? For each partner that I take on, I'm now further exposing myself. You are now one more instance of someone I'm working with that could compromise my business, right? So we're seeing this more and more, which hopefully for anyone on the call, that's a big alarm bell. Like that's telling you this is real, and this isn't just a luxury item anymore. It's becoming critical.